We are back for another episode of Things, Stuff and Words with Ben and Reid. My name is Ben Rogers. That guy right there is Reid Marnie. Second time in a row, Reid, that we're here in your house, in person, doing a face-to-face podcast.
Yeah, you're on a good behaviour bond at the moment. You behaved yourself last week. So I thought, I can come on in, you're allowed in. So it's all good. So 2 weeks in a row, you should be feeling very proud of yourself.
I didn't come in and traipse muddle through the house or anything like that. I was a good boy. I kept everything nice and clean and tidy when I left. It was all good.
Yes, I can't say I do the same at other people's houses, but you did it at mine, so very glad you did that.
Now, this week's episode is the one that we've decided to dedicate to video game talk, basically. And there might even be some video game play throughout this general chat. We haven't 100% decided on that, but it might just spontaneously happen because we have some consoles set up over there. And just in case, for anyone who's watching the video and are wondering why we have little microphone stands in front of us, that's why. Because if all of a sudden we need to, use our hands to play a video game, we can just chuck the stands up on the side of the couch here and go on with what we were doing.
Yeah, we'll just play it by ear,
Yeah.
That's how we roll.
So one thing that's very big that's happened recently is the whole Crash Bandicoot thing. And you've got on the bandwagon of this.
I have.
I've got on the bandwagon of this, even so much so that I didn't even have a PS4, and now I do have a PS4.
So you got one?
I did get a PS4.
Yes!
I have a PS4 now, and it was... We justified it for two reasons. One was because we wanted to play Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Yeah.
And the other reason was because we needed a new Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
And we were just like, well, the PlayStation 4 plays Blu-rays as well. So we may as well just get that, kill two birds with one stone, and be able to justify it that way.
Oh,
so
yes.
that's how we ended up with the PS4.
And how have you liked it so far? Because you've only had it just a couple of weeks, you just said. Is it all what you thought it was going to be?
It's been pretty good. At the moment, I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to buy a heap of games or if I just want to have one or two and just go through those first and kind of get my bearings with the PlayStation again. Because this is the first PlayStation that I've had since the PlayStation 2.
Wow.
I didn't have a PS3 at all. Whenever I was whenever I was playing PS3 stuff, it was always over at someone else's house.
Yeah, same.
So having the PS4 for me is a completely different beast. I'm not used to such a catalogue of intense gaming titles.
No, I'm the same as well. I don't buy a lot of games, and if I do, it's usually if they're on sale. If I really, really, really want one. I've got a really, really want game on pre-order at the moment. So I know what you're talking about, but it can be very intimidating when you go into any sort of retail store and you see loads and loads of games and you think, it's a lot of games.
Well, because the games that we own at the moment are Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Grand Theft Auto 5, and one that we just got with the console that's like a party game type thing for when people come over to your house. I can't even remember what it's called.
I know the game you're thinking of. Yeah, it's a fun game. But,
you download an app onto your phone, and then the app interacts with the game itself while you're playing it, and it's all like you do answers on your phone, and then it sends them to the screen so no one can see the answers that you're trying to give for the game. It's all about talking about other people who are, in the game with you.
Sounds like too much work for me, so
I'm out. It seems a little bit convoluted at first, but I think once, we get a group of people around and actually play it, it'll probably be quite good, and it'll be like a good kind of party atmosphere kind of game. So intrigued to see what that one's like when the day comes, but we haven't actually, given it a go yet because there's only usually the two of us and the cat home, and I really don't think the cat wants to play a party game on the PlayStation 4.
Well, you never know. I mean, we don't know what cats do when we're not at home, so maybe set up a camera opposite your little PS4 and just see if they actually do play it when you're not home. So
obviously, as far as Crash Bandicoot is concerned, how has your progress with the game been going so far?
Well, Ben, I've got to admit, it hasn't been going as well as I'd like. This is one of those games where I was really happy it came out. The thing I've discovered since I've had Crash Bandicoot is I really like video games. Like, I really like them. They're so much fun. But I'm a terrible gamer. I'm shocking. I go into video game stores every now and then, and I see when new releases are coming out. I think, oh, yes, I'm going to get that one. I get it. But I'm never any good at it. And I don't know why. So when I was a kid, I was the same. I used to love video games, but I was never a great gamer. And unfortunately, I've discovered with Crash Bandicoot, I'm a terrible gamer.
I think it's one of those things where Crash Bandicoot's kind of in my wheelhouse. Like, I can handle Crash Bandicoot, and I'm semi-decent at it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't call myself good, but I wouldn't call myself fantastic. I'm kind of in the middle of those two.
Right.
Whereas other games like your Call of Duty and all that kind of stuff, no idea whatsoever. I have no clue what is going on in those games at all. Mainly because I was always a Nintendo kid. So I was always, straight up side-scroller games. Favorite games back in the day were basically anything Mario Brothers and anything Donkey Kong. And they were always side-scroller games. Nothing was ever, kind of a 3D platformer until Crash Bandicoot, basically. And when it came to Crash Bandicoot, I got better and better as I got used to the whole, difference of it between just being a side-scrolling game. And now that it's on the PS4, I'm finding that I'm having to get used to it all over again because it's a different controlling mechanism kind of deal with it, where, he just slips off edges for no reason. He just keeps walking for no reason. And you're just like, I stopped walking, but you took 2 more steps. Why did you do that?
I'm finding myself getting very frustrated when I get to certain parts of it, certain levels, and I'm thinking, come on, I've done this 25 times now. Why can't I get over that hill, over that ledge? It just won't let me. There's one particular scene I'm really having difficulty with. Ripper Roo. If you know this character, if you know this guy in the game, you probably will feel my pain. I cannot defeat this guy. He is my Achilles heel. I just cannot defeat him. Really annoying.
The one that I was really kind of struggling with was I got past Ripperoo, and then there was also a totally jacked up koala as well.
Oh, yeah,
and got past him okay. But there was one, it was like a rat or something, and he had like a Tommy gun or something like that. Took ages to get past that one for some reason. I don't know why. I thought I kept doing everything right, but somehow I kept dying. And it's the most demoralizing thing when you lose all your lives and that mask keeps saying to you, "Game over." And then he just giggles. And you're like, you jerk.
The thing I've discovered, though, that if I really want to get past the level, I've got to admit defeat.
Yeah.
But without actually admitting defeat, I'll go onto like a website like YouTube or even Twitch, and I'll find out, how did other people beat this character? There's a website, a YouTube page I follow, and they do a lot of video streams of games. So I was watching this game, and I thought, right, this is a level I cannot defeat. How did you do it? And I watched him do it, and he must have just been doing it 100 times before he actually filmed himself doing it on YouTube, because he just did it like that. I thought, you jerk, there's no way you did that first time. How dare you?
Now, I don't know if this is true, but there was one level in the new Crash Bandicoot where it was so hard that they actually did an update to take that level out. But you can still download that level, apparently, if you want to, and just play it as a singular level. Is that correct?
Yeah. If you go into the PlayStation Store, you can actually get it. I think it's a free download, so it's not going to cost you anything. But you have to go onto the PlayStation Store specifically to buy it. Apparently, very, very difficult. I've watched a few people do their streams on YouTube and Twitch on it. Very difficult, so I'm not surprised they did take it off. But it shows you, though, that's the kind of stuff they take off the game. So there's obviously stuff they leave on the game, but it is by far one of the worst things to do.
Well, because the one that they took off, apparently there is another one that looks very similar to that level, and that's also very hard as well. But the other one is, the one that you can now download singularly, is even harder than the one that they've left in the game. And the one that is still in the game, usually a lot of people are really struggling with it. And then I saw a video pop up on Facebook a couple of weeks ago where someone literally got through that level, collected all the boxes and everything in the space of like 2.5 minutes. And so many people who are watching that video are just like, you jerk, I'm never watching anything you post ever again.
How much time do you spend doing this level? Is this video games your entire life, people? I mean, this is what they must do, surely.
But it was the weirdest thing because he knew like exactly where everything was. And then rather than taking the usual path where people would go and die, basically, he would just kind of go, okay, I know that there's a platform underneath this platform that if I just fall off the other side and then just maneuver correctly, I'll land in the right spot and then don't have to go through all that chaos to get down to that platform. And it was like, this is genius, but I could never pull it off. There's no chance of me being able to do that.
Oh, I'm the same way. I could do it for hours on end. I would not even come close to even getting through that level. So whilst I'm really annoyed at those people, I'm kind of jealous of them because I think, gee, I wish I could have that kind of skill where I could just click like that in the game, but I can never do it.
And as far as like people getting through games really quickly, there's even people now who are trying to best each other in the first ever Mario Brothers on the NES.
Right.
And it's basically just a crazy run of how fast you can get through that game in general. Ooh. So using the warp zones, using whatever you like to actually get through, how quick can you finish the game from level 1 right through until the final boss Bowser level?
Jeez.
And so many people are flying through this game like crazy. I actually can make my way through the game pretty fast.
Yeah.
But still nowhere near as fast as these people who are just like seamlessly jumping in all the right places and, you know, hitting all the right enemies everywhere to get them onto the next platform and all this kind of stuff. I'm probably about maybe 3 to 4 minutes on top of what their time is because I'm just not that seamless.
No, and this weird thing, because when I was younger, I used to be like pretty good like that. I was very seamless, very quick. It was just, you know, switched on. But as I've gotten older, I've lost my way.
Yeah.
I have massively lost my way, and I'm really annoyed at that because I used to love being able to do it really quickly, but as I've gotten older, I just cannot do that anymore. Much like my exercise life. I used to be very quick when I was young. Now, as I've gotten older, very slow.
It makes me kind of worry, though, because I am getting the mini SNES later on. It's actually due out next month, but I'm getting it in December for my birthday. And
seems like cruel punishment, but continue.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of the games on the SNES I played when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think to myself, okay, am I going to get really frustrated with this because I will have lost my touch and I'll have to regain it all to play these games again? Or am I just going to go straight back into it and just be like, oh yeah, just picking up from where I left off, this is a breeze?
I reckon some people will have that mentality. I reckon others won't. One thing a lot of people tend to forget about this whole, mini systems, the controllers are actually smaller.
Yeah.
They're not the same size controller as you got them when you were back in the 90s. They're very small, the controllers. I'm going to show you the NES controller later, and it's very small. So, yeah, that could play some part in it.
So, like, there's more of a chance of mashing the buttons a little bit more because your thumbs are too big now and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You're just going to clang and bang everywhere.
It seems like a bit of a simpleton thing to say, but when we were younger, our bodies were smaller. And obviously our fingers played a big part in, playing the games. So that would play some role in it. So I've discovered that the controllers are way smaller than I thought they were back in the 90s. The 90s ones were huge. Nowadays they're just tiny.
Yeah. Actually, I'm just thinking now, because we're using our portable podcast setup for the second time, obviously. I just thought, if someone rings me right now, because we're recording on my, let's just check this out for a second.
Now, you see, we're not the kind of people that sort of check this stuff beforehand. We just think of it on the go. Ben thinks of that sort of stuff. I wouldn't think of that sort of stuff, so he's got that over me. But
now, this completely ruined us out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hit airplane mode just so no one can ring me. And fingers crossed, if I do that, I think that was okay. I don't think we missed anything. I don't think it cut anything out.
We didn't crash the entire phone. The operating system is still working okay.
It's still okay.
Wow.
I've still got 36% battery life, so I think we're going to be okay. So we'll leave that be and let it do its thing. The last thing that I would want is we're in the middle of a podcast, and then because I've got the headphone jack actually in there, the ringtone just internally records over the top of what we're trying to say.
Oh, man, could you imagine?
That'd just be the thing that happens to us out of nowhere. And we'd just be like, yeah, well, that's kind of ruined now. We'll have to cut that part out.
And even worse, I'd find out what your ringtone probably is, and it's some hideous thing that you're too embarrassed to think of, It'd be like having one of your family members, and it was like an AC/DC song, like Highway to Hell. It's like, oh, no, I don't mean it like that, folks. No.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I was watching a video earlier today of a guy who was pulling a prank in his college library, like the college that he goes to over in the US.
Yeah.
He was basically had one of his mates as like the hidden camera guy somewhere around the library.
Right.
And he would sit down at a desk, like, where all the students are studying and stuff, and act as though he was going to put his headphones in and just start listening to music through his headphones off his phone. but not have the headphone jack in fully. So when he hits play, it just starts booming out to everybody.
Oh no!
And it was something like booming out the most embarrassing songs as a prank.
Oh.
And so he's sitting there in the library, presses play on his phone. Everyone's here. It's like, I'm a Barbie girl. and they're all just like, what? Is this guy serious right now?
How old are you?
Goes to another guy and he's like got that "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" song going. And everyone's just like, whoa, dude, seriously, calm down the grunge. It's the library.
Then Crazy Fog starts ringing out throughout the entire cinema. Oh, let it go, folks. It was popular 1 year. Let it go. Move on.
Now, you've got, to go back to the whole video game side of things, you've got the mini NES. And how many games did it come with?
I think it came with 30.
Came with 30. And as far as all the games on there are concerned, have you played most of them on there?
I actually, when I first got it, I actually went through every game because I wanted to really get a feel for each and every game. Most of them, I'm going to be honest, I have not played since, and I don't feel bad about saying that. But there's a few games on there I really like. Obviously, the Super Mario Brother ones, but also the Excite Bike. I really like that. It's a very simple game, but most of these games are because they're arcade games, so they're not anything too spectacular. But the Mario and Donkey Kong games, particularly, I do like. Zelda, I was a big fan of, but a lot of these games I had never played before.
Were there any on there that you hadn't played before, but then when you did play, they kind of surprised you a little bit, and you were just like, hey, I like this?
Yeah, the one that did was actually Excite Bike. Also Zelda. I had never played Zelda. I've never been one of those people to play Zelda, so I got the arcade version on the NES. Really liked it. Thought it was good, fun.
I feel like if I played Zelda now, I'd probably appreciate it a little bit more. Because back when I was a kid, it was one of those games where it's just like, I have no idea what the purpose of this is. Like, I'm walking around this map, it's a bird's eye view, I'm going through all these weird portals and doors and whatever and going to, new areas and stuff. But I have no idea what I'm searching for. It doesn't make any sense to me. But now I feel like I'd be able to get a grip of the actual gameplay and, understand the story of what's going on and all that kind of thing. Whereas back then, I think it might have been a game more for teenagers or adults who still enjoyed playing video games. Basically.
Yeah, sure. And I think from all accounts, the Zelda game on the Nintendo Switch is apparently amazing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to sort of see how it's come from the arcade games of the NES to the newly released Nintendo Switch. So it's one of those games that's continued throughout the years and it's apparently getting quite better. Speaking
of the Nintendo Switch, that was one game console that I was thinking about upgrading to there at one stage because I do have the Wii U. And when the Switch was announced, I was just like, that's going to be my next gaming console. Yeah. That's going to be it, and that's going to be the only one that I'll need to buy for years. And now all of a sudden I've ended up with a PS4. But I can't see myself upgrading to the Nintendo Switch anymore. But still having the Wii U there and still being able to play those games is still, a cool novelty to have because you can still go back and play the games that you liked and download games off the Nintendo store, like old classic games and all that kind of stuff, and still have a bit of fun with it. Whereas with the Switch, I feel like everyone's kind of gone a little bit crazy over it for the time being. And until the hysteria dies down, it's not going to be as fun as it potentially could, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I sort of get your point. The one thing I've really noticed with it is, probably on a completely different subject, the price hasn't really changed since day one. I would have thought maybe it might have decreased a little bit or just gone down, say, even $10 or $20. Yeah. But no, nothing like that at all. So I'm still shocked every time I go into a new store, a retail store rather, and they're selling it. It's the same price, same bundle deal, same single deal if you're not interested in getting games. I think surely they've put some sort of change in price, but no.
Well, that was one thing that happened with the Wii U itself as well. The price didn't change the whole time that it was out, pretty much.
Wow.
It started off at just over $500. Yeah. And then by the time the Switch came out, they were still selling them for about $420.
Jeez.
And it stayed around that price point around basically the whole time, unless there was a sale on and they were doing like some crazy Christmas bundle or something like that. So I don't get how Sony and Microsoft have their pricing systems for the Xbox and the PS4, and they can gradually go down. Yet Nintendo's price point always tends to stay the same, basically.
And people still buy the consoles and the games. So interestingly, that it still works for them, but we're not dumb. We are onto you, Nintendo. We do realize you don't change your price, so maybe just change your price every now and then, and we'll be okay.
Just a quick side note, for anyone who's listening to the audio side of things, I'm not sure if you can actually hear it, and for anyone who's watching the video side of things, you wouldn't actually be able to see it either. But on the chair next to me just here are the two cats that Reid's family owns.
Yeah.
One of them is snoring. just a little bit.
Oh, I know the noise you're making, and it's very funny.
Yeah, it's like the faintest little snore on the end of the breath. And at first I was just kind of like, what is that noise? Where is that coming from? And then I was like, oh, the cats are there. One of them snoring. Okay.
Trust me, late at night when it's very quiet, you hear a noise, you think, what the hell's that? You go and you think, oh, it's just the cat sleeping.
Yeah.
Lucky them. I've now got to go back to sleep.
And especially, I guess, do you let the cats sleep in your room at night? Like, do they sleep on your bed?
Well, here's the thing. My door's open, but they never come in.
Yeah.
I don't get it. During the day, they sleep on my bed all day. It's very warm in there, and they obviously like it. That they sense it's my bedroom. But when I'm in there at night sleeping, or even during the day sometimes, they don't come in. Very weird.
If we have our door open at home during the night, the cat will not leave us alone.
Wow.
And she will not settle for longer than maybe an hour and a half before she gets up, and she's just like, okay, got to find a new comfortable position now. I'm going to wake everyone up and then just, find my spot and go back to sleep. It's okay. I don't have to go to work. It's fine.
They remind me of my youngest brother. Very fidgety, can't sit still for more than 10 minutes. Is always moving around the house doing something. So very similar to a cat in that respect.
Just quickly, and this is going to be a bit of a random tangent for a second here.
We do like the random tangents, by the way.
But I just wanted to mention this to you and see if you'd heard it yet or seen anything about it. And full disclosure, this episode was recorded the day after Taylor Swift's latest song was released.
Yes.
It's called Look What You Made Me Do. And yesterday at work, I was, working throughout the day on a Friday.
Yeah.
The song itself dropped at 1:30 in the afternoon, worldwide, but it was 1:30 our time.
Yeah.
And when it dropped, my boss came in, made a huge deal out of it, and was just like, okay, got to put it on air this afternoon. We've got to get it going, got to have it out there for everyone to hear. And I was like, cool, I'll put it on in the 4 o'clock hour. It's the home run. It's when everyone's listening, whatever. Didn't actually listen to it until the 4 o'clock hour came around. And then all the anticipation that had built up to it, everyone was super excited about hearing it and everything. Got there, listened to the song, came out the other end of it and was just like, are you serious? That was an absolute dumpster fire of a song. Like, that was terrible. Have you heard it yet?
I have heard it, yes.
The whole... It's very bland going through like the verses.
Yeah.
And then you think that she's building up to a chorus. And usually when someone builds up to a chorus, any artist, when they build up to a chorus, it's like, okay, here's the chorus. This is where it's going to hook us in. And then she just starts talking. Rhythmically talking.
So,
like, what are you doing?
To that point, though, I saw someone on Twitter say she could release literal garbage as an actual single, and it'll still sell, and people will still love it. I have a feeling that she's sort of like Teflon; nothing sticks. Everything she releases turns to gold, and we love her for it. Unfortunately, I sort of see through it all, and not really a fan of the new song, and that really hurts me because I have liked some of her previous stuff. I know, a bit weird coming from an AC/DC loving guy, but very bizarre to think that this song was just no. What are you doing, Taylor?
And in the space of 1:30 yesterday to what's it now, like nearly 4 o'clock or something like that, 3:39 on Saturday afternoon, the 26th of August, 26th. Yeah, 26th of August. In just over 24 hours, the lyric video of Look What You Made Me Do on YouTube has amassed over 15 million views.
Wow. Had no idea. But 15,
insane.
In only 24 hours and it's already done that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That last time I checked was because I had to talk about it again on the radio today. And at the time, it was 15,400,000 and something. So it's probably even more now. It's probably even up to around 16 million or something like that.
I think Taylor needs something good to come out of all this, because as we all know, she's been in a bit of, well, not her specifically, but she's had someone do something against her. She took someone to court, and she won, and she only sued the guy for $1 because it wasn't about the money. It was about the case itself, alleged sexual harassment. And if you've seen the photo of the guy grabbing her butt.
Supposedly.
Allegedly.
Well,
supposedly.
Is it allegedly anymore? Because it was proven apparently that he did.
I'm going to say allegedly anyway. He probably will never watch this or never hear our podcast, but I'm not going to say definite for sure. But I can't remember. But after all that happened, though, you might not remember this, but she actually deleted every single one of her Instagram photos and every one of her Facebook and Twitter posts.
Yeah.
So think of all the Instagram posts she had, like thousands of photos, thousands of tweets, thousands of Facebook posts, gone.
Why?
Never to come back. And a lot of people thought maybe it's like she's putting the past behind her and she's wanting to move on in her life. A lot of other people believe it was to do with the new single release, so maybe she can now sort of put all of her focus into music and not have any sort of personal life stuff on social media anymore.
Well, there is some underhanded tactics that were going on as far as her rivalry with Katy Perry was concerned.
Yes.
Do you remember Katy Perry released her new album recently, and it was set to go up on Spotify on a particular date, on the release date, and Taylor Swift obviously had taken all her stuff down from Spotify. She was exclusive to Apple Music, and that was the only place that you could, stream any of her stuff. And then all of a sudden, when Katy Perry put the release date on her album and it was going to go live on Spotify and easily going to make her the number one streamed person for the day, the week, the month, whatever, Taylor Swift was like, oh, guys, guess what? On that date, all my stuff's going to be back up on Spotify again. Because no, we couldn't let Katy Perry be number one, could we?
Are we buying the whole rivalry thing? Do we think it's actually got to do with, they've had like a meeting, they thought, right, I can help you, you can help me, we're going to help each other out, and publicly we're going to say we hate each other and we're rivals, but actually we're BFFs.
Yeah.
I reckon it's that.
Potentially. Well, even all these stupid rivalries that are happening on YouTube at the moment. Like, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have heard of any of this stuff, but this group that calls themselves Team 10
Never heard of them.
On YouTube.
No.
It's
Do tell.
a bunch of absolute drongos.
Yeah.
And I could say a lot more colourful things about them, but they're just a bunch of absolute idiots. But they've got this big feud going on with some other guys from the FaZe clan. And FaZe Clan is a bunch of gamers or something like that. And they were just like, oh, one of the FaZe guys beat up my assistant and smacked her in the neck or something. Now she's got a big bruise and everything like that. And then they did this whole video about, oh, he smacked her in the neck and now she's got a big bruise. But then when she's moving around, apparently the bruise was shimmering in the light. And everyone's just like, bruises don't shimmer. What's that all about? And then they had all these other pictures of this girl who supposedly got hit in the neck, where all of a sudden she didn't have a bruise anymore. I'm like, oh, hang on a second. Makeup shimmers, but bruises don't.
Oh.
So we think that she might have just made this one up maybe, and they've just tried to do some, tactic to try and take these guys down and defame them in some way.
Then I think they all realised, hang on, we're gamers. We don't like the idea of fighting, let alone actually going through with the act, so it definitely wasn't us.
And it's so funny, like, seeing... Because the videos are everywhere. Like, you can't escape them when you're on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's all the trending videos that are going around at the moment. And all these guys who are trying to big note themselves and make themselves seem like they're, above all the drama. And I don't even like drama. I hate being involved in drama stuff. It's not good. But then you're purposely putting yourself in drama-filled situations. Like, how does that make sense?
It's like when the people on The Bachelor are saying, oh, we don't like drama, but they're the first ones to be involved in anything drama-related. So please, as soon as someone says, I don't do drama... You're a drama queen and you love it. So, don't say you don't, because you do.
I think before we go down a Bachelor rabbit hole again, like our previous episode, Maybe we should transition off our tangent and go back to the whole video game side of things.
Yeah, now there's something that I saw during the week that sort of interested me because I've never had any of these consoles. The Nintendo 3DS. Did you see what they released during, or they're going to release later this year?
Oh, no.
It's a Super Nintendo themed 3DS.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like the Super Nintendo, but it's a 3DS.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to try and show Ben a photo live as we do this.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've never had a 3DS, but if I was to own one, I reckon I would have that.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting my phone do the work for me.
Actually, I'm going to put down my microphone for a second. It's probably going to sound horrendous on the recording, but I need to get my bottle of water.
Apologies to all those who are listening. And where are we? There we go.
Try and pick it up, making minimal sound.
Good luck with that.
There we go. I think I did pretty well, actually. Let's just have a quick look to see how... Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Just to see how you went.
And see how the waveforms are going.
Yeah. So there's the image of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it actually opens up to be the game system, but on the outside kind of decal, it looks like a Super Nintendo.
It's like a mishmash of the Super Nintendo and the 3DS, put them all in one, and that's what you get.
And it's not the, the Super Famicom version?
No.
It's actually the Super Nintendo version.
No, it's actually the Super Nintendo version. So it's a fully fledged Nintendo product. Going to be coming out later this year at a cost of, I think, $250. So I don't know what they normally retail for, but I thought, that's quite nice. And I've never had a 3DS, but if I was to have one, that would be the one I would get.
Now, have you ever been one to get amongst the whole PC gaming world? Like, as far as, because, everyone's got like, I choose this console. I'm an Xbox person over a PlayStation person, PlayStation over Xbox, prefer Nintendo, whatever. But there's so many people who are just like, no, PC gaming all the way. So,
they're sort of PC snobs, are they?
Just like you noobs can, go and play your shitty console games, and we'll just be over here doing all the cool stuff on PC.
No, and partly because every time I've gone into a retail store, the amount of PC games is very minimal compared to what you can get for the Xbox and the PlayStation. So no, I've never had any intention of doing that.
And I think it's more because a lot of the PC-based games now are more downloadable content. Yeah. Like on places like Steam and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest ones that's going around at the moment is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Have you seen any of this? It's basically the Hunger Games with just a crap ton of weapons.
Right.
So you start off like just waiting to get into the game, and you're waiting for numbers to pile in, and you're playing against all these different people around the world. Once it gets up to around 90 or so people, you want to get as close to 100, and then they just pop all these 100 people just on the space of an island.
Wow.
And then you have to go around this island into all the abandoned buildings and houses and all that kind of stuff, equip yourself with all these different guns and armor and everything like that, and then just go and find people and try and kill them and be the last one standing.
I think that's what people love about video games, is that you can do stuff that you can't do in real life, or so people would believe. But that sounds like a really interesting one, because I know that people love, killing all kinds of stuff, and the more weapons, the better. So I reckon that has a lot of traction with people.
It's one of the most streamed games going around at the moment.
Wow.
Everyone loves playing it and showing themselves playing it to other people.
Right.
It's if you go onto Twitch at the moment and just type in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, it'll pop up everywhere. Every man and his dog is playing this game right now. And there's even one guy, biggest YouTuber in the world, PewDiePie.
Yep.
He's like the most well-known YouTuber out there, over 50-something million subscribers now.
Wow.
And he hasn't been doing it as much lately, but he's just been streaming it like nearly for a good couple of weeks there. He was just streaming every night on YouTube for about like 3 or 4 hours. Just him playing this game over and over and over again.
Gee, he's got a lot going on in his life, doesn't he?
Every time he died, he'd like go out, regenerate, and come back into a new game. And the funniest thing is, though, if you do win, it says on the screen, "Winner, winner, chicken dinner."
Oh my goodness.
And so whenever people are playing it, they're just like, okay, got to hunt some people down, got to get that chicken dinner.
Oh, that is amazing. Oh, I love it.
So, like, I think the fact that they're playing, you know, kind of a semi-serious kind of shoot-'em-up type game, but still you're getting kind of these funny off-the-cuff things involved in it as well. It's just kind of like, okay, I can see why so many people are getting behind this game and wanting to get involved with it.
And that's what games need to have, that little novelty thing, you know? I mean, you can have the actual seriousness of all the games. If you can have a little novelty on the game, I reckon that's what gets people hooked on them. So I quite like that chicken dinner. That's hilarious.
Even as far as games like Mario Kart and all that kind of stuff is concerned, like they had really good hooks that got people in and got them wanting to play it over and over and over again. Because even before PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has been like the big booming game on places like Twitch and YouTube gaming and all that kind of stuff. Mario Kart 8 was one of the most streamed games going around as well. So many people were just playing it and showing themselves playing it. And, you know, people were... if you were watching someone play on Twitch, then you were actively trying to get into their game bracket as well, so you could go up against them and try and beat them.
Yeah.
And that was a big, you know, selling point for a lot of people of why they watch all these Twitch things in the first place.
I think that's what I've really enjoyed about the whole Mario Kart system as a whole, game as a whole rather, is that it's a car racing game, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's been popular since the 80s. And here we are in 2017. Mario Kart is still a thing.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Like, I love it. Like, we've got all the technical games in the world and games that I'm never going to play that are very, you know, technical. And you got a simple little game like Mario Kart. It's had different, you know, versions of the game throughout the whole life of its system. It's so cool that it's so popular still in 2017. I love it.
Now, as far as the Super Nintendo is concerned, as we mentioned earlier, next month is when the mini SNES makes its way to shelves. That's if any of them actually get to the shelf. I think most of them will be gone on pre-order in the first wave.
There will be none on shelves, I reckon. None on shelves.
It's kind of like when Crash Bandicoot first came out on PS4. There was none on shelves whatsoever because it was just all gone from pre-order.
Yeah, I never really got that. The whole Super Nintendo game console being sold out straight away, that I understand. Yeah. But a game, Crash Bandicoot, considering there was no like special edition version of the game, sold out on like the first day, I found that very bizarre, but cool nonetheless.
It's just the whole nostalgia factor of the whole thing. Everyone's on this big nostalgia kick.
Oh yeah,
at the moment.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I quite like it though. The whole retro games are becoming, you know, cool. You know, what's old is new again. I'm really loving it. So I think people our age who played these games back in the 90s, this is what our biggest memories are of games are these like Super Mario Kart and Donkey Kong and all the rest of it. The fact that they're releasing them brand new in 2017, I think is so cool. It's so awesome.
Now, I can't do it on my phone, obviously, because we're recording on mine at the moment, but are you able to look up what the actual... Because it's 21 games, is it, on the mini SNES?
Yeah,
and so what are those 21 games exactly? Because I'm pretty sure there was one on there that they mentioned that was a previously unreleased version of a game that's now going to be on there, and that's the only place that you can play it is on the mini SNES.
Yeah, so that was a previously unreleased game, and apparently this is the only place you'll actually be able to find it. Now, thank you, Wi-Fi, for actually working. Now, I've actually got the website of Nintendo up. So the game you're thinking of, Star Fox 2.
That's right. I remember that because there's newer versions of Star Fox out now, isn't there? On Wii U, and I think there's a new one coming to Switch as well.
No, I think so. I'm not too sure, but I think so. Now, did you want to go through any of the other games on the system?
Yeah, let's go through the list and tell us what's on there.
All right, in no particular order, because it's coming up in no particular order.
Yep.
Super Mario World.
Yep.
That'll be cool. Super Mario Kart. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Super Metroid. Yep. Punch-Out. Donkey Kong Country.
Ooh.
That is going to be the big ticket item.
Yeah, I reckon I'll be going at that one a fair bit.
Kirby Superstar. Kirby's Dream Course. Star Fox.
Yep.
Super Mario, Legend of the Seven Stars. Yoshi's Island.
Oh,
I didn't play Yoshi's Island when it was. So that's going to be one of those games I'm actually going to play for the first time on the Super Nintendo.
I remember hearing the name of that game when it was like, you know, released back in the day, but it was never one that I was like, oh, I've got to get that.
Yeah. Oh, same. And the biggest one, I think this will be the biggest draw card because when the console was first announced, this was the game everyone was talking about, Super Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So that is the game that we all know and love. So I reckon people are going to get the console just for that game specifically.
And because it's the original Super Mario Kart, and it's the one that everyone loved the iconic music from and all that kind of stuff. Even now, when you play the new version like Mario Kart 8, I still kind of sit there and just go, yeah, the music's kind of, fun and funky and good, but it's still not the same as just like the...
I like that.
That 8-bit music, or I guess it'd be 16-bit music, because 8-bit was the NES, and now 16-bit would be the Super Nintendo. So it's like that 16-bit music where it's not quite right, but it's still so awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it's like meeting an ex-girlfriend for the first time. Not quite right, but yeah, all right, just enough. It's all right.
So obviously the one that we mentioned there, apart from Mario Kart, was Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Which is one that I actually did play quite a bit back in the day when I did have my I've still got my Super Nintendo, but it doesn't actually work anymore.
Oh.
It needs to be refurbished
if
I want to ever play it again. But that's pretty easily done, apparently. But
yeah, I think you can just get it to a retail store and they can take it away to their place and they do it all up for you. So it's not too difficult. Just the cost, though.
Apparently, there's a dude at the local markets here who sells like a heap of video games. And if you take it up to him, he's just like, oh, yeah, give us a week and come back and collect it next Sunday when I'm here again.
Wow.
So...
he's like the black market kind of guy.
He's the guru that can do it all for like half price.
Yeah, he gets
all the parts from China.
He doesn't have a website or social media. He's just at the markets on a Sunday morning. Yeah, mate, I'll do that for a week. Yeah, no worries. Just give us a 20. We're all good, mate.
One game that I am disappointed, though, didn't make it onto that list of games that's going to be on the mini SNES is Bubsy. Do you remember Bubsy?
Vaguely. Not a lot, but vaguely.
It was Bubsy the Bobcat.
Yep.
And you had to bounce him off the trees, the top of car roofs and all that kind of stuff to collect all the wool balls.
Yeah.
They used to play it on that TV show Amazing with James Sherry.
Oh, I was thinking of that just the other day because when Donkey Kong Country was on the SNES, I thought, what was that game they played on Amazing? Because I remember that game, I thought, that looks pretty cool. Yeah. So that's the game.
They always played Bubsy.
Bubsy, okay.
And it was whoever collects the most wool balls in the space of 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And they played Donkey Kong Country, whoever collects the most bananas in 60 seconds. And then they also played Mario Kart, and it was whoever wins the race.
Yeah.
And there was another one that they did play as well. It was another racing game like California... California Dreamin' or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know if it was California Dreamin' or if that's just a TV show called California Dreams. Do you remember that from the early 90s?
Yeah, geez, I haven't thought in years.
It was around the Saved by the Bell era.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell way too popular for any other show to come close to it.
I actually watched, not too long ago, because there was a reunion that happened with the guys from California Dreams.
Yeah.
They did a reunion on some American TV talk show, and all the people from the band actually sang the song from the theme song to the show, and the guy who sings in the song had not lost a step at all.
Wow.
He was still could still obviously sing very well. Still obviously is a musician to this day. Does his thing gigs at pubs and all that kind of stuff. When the girl came in though, it was a bit of a different story.
Oh dear. Oh no.
You kind of got the idea that after she did California Dreams, she might have just gone, okay, I'm just gonna go and be a regular stay-at-home person now who has a couple of kids with their husband, and then just had this thing in the past that they did but doesn't do it anymore. And so she's come back to the reunion and the guy's ripping it up at the start, and then she's come in and just gone, and someone home, he's like, yep, okay, maybe just go back to him. Just go back to him singing.
This gives me memories of... You remember the band back in... I think they were in the 90s or maybe early 2000s. S Club 7.
Yes.
Well, about a year ago, might be 2 years ago, they tried to come back.
Oh, okay.
Have a reunion, although not all the members wanted to come back. They got the majority of them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they came to Australia, not on I think just on a promotional tour sort of thing. They were on one of the television morning shows. I think it was Channel 7's one.
Okay. And
to say it was a good performance would be a massive lie because they were shocking. Even the hosts weren't, at the time they were saying, oh, that's great, good on you. And then they were saying oh, yeah, it was okay. It was all right. Social media went into absolute meltdown because everyone said, I watched S Club 7, but that was not S Club 7. That was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen on TV. So I think when you have these like bands or have their own TV shows and they were very popular back in the day and then they try to come back, it never works or very rarely does it work. And S Club 7 did not work.
Actually, just quickly, if we're really quiet, I just want to see if I can get a bit of this.
I can hear him from here, so hopefully we can get him on the mic. I'm
going to bring the microphone over.
This is my cat snoring, by the way.
No, they're just... One's woken up and they're just sniffing.
Right on cue. Right on cue. As soon as
How convenient.
I know. But you'll be able to hear some of it in the background, I reckon, because I can hear it from where I was just before.
They were just like, wait, they've stopped talking for some reason. Why have they stopped talking?
We're not the stars, folks. The cats are. They know it.
And as far as future video game stuff is concerned, is there anything that you're excited about playing? I think we might finish it on this as far as excitement for the future things.
Yeah, well, this is the immediate future. I have pre-ordered the game Gran Turismo. I played this game a lot when I was young, used to adore it. I know a simple car racing game, hardly too exciting. For me, though, I was massively into the car racing games. And Gran Turismo, for me, was the biggest one of all. And they announced a few months ago that this was going to be coming back this year. I pre-ordered it straight away, and I think it's coming in late October, early November, one of those two. And I just wanted to come here already. It's either, what am I looking forward to, the SNES or Gran Turismo?
Yeah.
For me, I never thought I'd say this, but it's actually Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, really looking forward to the SNES, really looking forward to the day that delivery guy comes to the door and says, here you go.
Yeah.
But for me, Gran Turismo, I have been looking forward to this game for years, and the fact they're going to be releasing it brand new, a new version later this year with the original creators of the game. Oh man, that's going to be a great weekend. Oh, yes.
I'm looking forward to, especially now that I have a PS4, I'm looking forward to a better Tony Hawk offering. Because back in the day, I used to be a huge fan of Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
And it was one of those games that I always played, especially Tony Hawk's Underground. That was like my favourite of the Pro Skater game franchise. And when they brought out the PS4, there was a new Tony Hawk game that was brought out to play on it, but everyone was just like, oh, it's so crap. It's terrible. The mechanisms on it are just insanely ridiculous, and like it's just so, you know, outdated and barely any better than, you know, Pro Skater that you played on PS1.
Same name, not the same game though.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to potentially a good Tony Hawk Pro Skater offering. I have heard that there's some rumblings that there is something in the works.
The jungle drums are beating.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that the next one that comes out in the Pro Skater franchise is going to be a good Tony Hawk game. That everyone's just like, yeah, got to get around it. Get around it now.
That's one of the weird things, because I was never a skateboarder. Never a skateboarder.
Yeah.
And for some reason, on that game, I played it all the time.
Yeah.
I used to love it. But I was never a skateboarder. It never made me want to be a skateboarder. It never made me want to think, I can do this, because I definitely knew I can't without actually doing it. But I never skateboarded, and I never really liked it. But for some reason, the video game Tony Hawk was just amazing. I thought, this is awesome.
And that's the whole thing. I was never a skateboarder either. Like, I owned a skateboard when I was like, I think maybe 9 or 10 years old.
Right.
And it was one of those real kind of cheap and nasty ones that you get for like $20 at Toy Kingdom.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It wasn't anything fancy like those nice black deck ones or anything like that. And playing that game never made me want to go, okay, I want to go out now and jump in the half pipe and try and do some awesome skateboard tricks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how you can be so immersed into a game, but still just kind of like, yeah, I could do this outside, but I really don't want to.
Yeah, and I never will. You'll never see me on a skateboard once, not even for a prank for a YouTube video. But look, it's going to be an exciting second half of the year in terms of video games.
Yeah.
Obviously, the SNES, the Super Nintendo, really looking forward to that. Gran Turismo, really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really strong second half of video games. So there's going to be a whole lot of others released, I reckon, as well. But as far as the Super Nintendo system, I cannot wait.
Yep.
It's going to be a long wait. And you said that you're going to get this for your birthday.
Yeah, in December.
But I'm going to get it before that comes. So should we be in a situation where I can say, hey, Ben, do you want to come over and play the Super Nintendo? And you say, well, I can't. I'm getting it for my birthday. What am I going to tell my partner? Just tell her that you're hanging out with Reid to,
We're just recording another podcast.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I'm just recording a podcast. Nothing to think of it.
Not playing any video games at all.
No, I didn't mention video games, Ben. So it's going to be like that, but nevertheless, it's going to be quite fun. So I think it's another month or so, but it's going to be a long wait because I just wanted to be here already, mate. Come on, get here now.
Well, we'll wrap it up right there. So if you want to follow along with the show, of course, you can do so social media-wise at Ben and Reid on Twitter and Instagram. As far as listening to the show is concerned, you can do so on iTunes, Stitcher, and Soundcloud. Just search for Ben and Reid on all those places, and you'll find the show right there. Even watching the video version of the show, if you're watching us right now, you can watch us on Vidme, vid.me/Ben and Reid, and also just search Ben and Reid on YouTube. Be sure to find us there as well. But we should also mention that for anyone who's looking for past episodes of the show, since we've become Things, Stuff and Words, those episodes aren't all on the audio platforms anymore. All the episodes are still up on the video platforms though, because SoundCloud tried to get us to pay like $150 to keep all our episodes up, and we were just like, no, not happening at all.
Not to be confused, of course, with SoundCloud going into debt. And,
no.
I mean, it's just a massive coincidence, I mean, they're into debt and all of a sudden they're putting the prices up.
I mean, considering in our first year when we were doing our old podcast.
Yes.
In that first year we were paying $50 for the year.
Yeah.
And then it went up to $80 for the year. And then recently they tried to get me to pay $149.50. And I was just like, nah, $80 was enough. I'm not going anything over $80 this time around.
It really has appreciated in value on their terms, they believe.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So, no, it's basically the previous 4 episodes of the show that are available as far as the audio version is concerned. But if you want to watch back any of the video versions of the show that aren't necessarily, video versions that you can see our faces, but, video versions of the show that you can listen to the audio and see like a cool little visualizer thing at the same time, you can check those out on vid.me/Ben and Reid and just search for Ben and Reid on YouTube. But that pretty much wraps up another week of the show, Reid.
Wrapped to see that you've got yourself a PS4.
Yep.
That is by far the most exciting thing that's going to happen to you this year.
Yeah.
One of. But probably...
I'm just getting married in November. But...
Well, video games are my life and,
I'm going to show this part of the podcast to my fiancée and see what she says about that.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I won't be going to Ben's wedding.
Reid is uninvited to the wedding.
Jeez, how to get uninvited to a wedding, part 1.
Say that the PS4 is the most exciting thing that's going to happen to you all year.
Well, hang on, if she doesn't agree, then I think you're marrying someone who doesn't like video games, and surely that can't be true, can it?
Well, she was the one that kind of pushed to play Crash Bandicoot the most.
Well, you're back in my good books, but I dare say I'm not in yours.
Well, on that, we'll sign off.
Yep.
So, catch you very soon for another episode of the show. Until then, as I said last time, just enjoy life.
Yeah. If you can be bothered, yeah.
Why not? See ya.